Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Joyroute-Jojo. In our previous videos, we were discussing about Azure Network. We have completed that module. Today, we enter into a new module, is nothing but Azure Storage. Azure Storage is Microsoft's cloud storage solution for modern data storage scenarios. Azure Storage offers massively scalable object store for data object. It provides a file system service for the cloud, a messaging store for reliable messaging, and non-SQL store. Let's put it in a simple language. You can think of it as a place in the cloud, a place in cloud where you can safely keep all kinds of data. You can keep here in the cloud, you can keep all kinds of data that can be called as Azure Storage. This will be a simple explanation for Azure Storage. It is flexible, can handle huge amount of information. When it comes to on-premise, when it comes to your machines, you have a limitation for the storage. But when it comes to Azure Storage, it is scalable, it is flexible, and can handle huge amount of information. With Azure Storage, you can store files, document, just like you do it on your computer or server. The same way you can share big set of data like photos, videos, or backups, send and receive messages between applications reliably, even use it as database for apps that need fast, flexible data storage. So all these purpose you can use Azure Storage. There are mainly three categories of data that support Azure Storage. Azure Storage as supporting three categories of data. One is called structured data, the other one is unstructured data, and the third one is virtual machine data. Through this picture, let's try to understand that. First one is virtual machine data, which is nothing but we create a virtual machine. In that virtual machine we have disk and file. We can store the data in the disk or in the file. So this is called virtual machine data. The other one is called unstructured data. Unstructured data is nothing but blob storage, where you can store your photos, your videos, your PDF files, your music, audio files, whatever, which is in a which doesn't have a structure. So those data can be stored in the Azure Storage. And the third one is nothing but structured data. Structured data, it is better to understand like SQL database, Cosmos DB, or Azure Table Storage, which has a structure. A table and database has got a structure. So that kind of data is called structured data. So all these three kind of data can be stored in the Azure Storage. So first of all, we should have a storage account. And in the storage account, either you can create a container for the blobs. In the blobs you can store images, documents, videos, audios, big data, backup files, database, logs. Any unstructured data you can store it in the container. It's called blob storage. And we have table. The second one is table, which is it's a little more structured way, like name equal to this, email address is this, like how you write the database query, but it is something different. Then queue, files is nothing but in the virtual machine files like directories, how we have in a disk in a machine. First thing is to creating a storage account in the Azure portal. Let's discuss one more thing. When to create a storage account? Does it always we create a storage account for the data storage in cloud? Let's see that. If you want to use Azure Storage service like Blob storage, Azure files, queues, table, data lake, etc., you must create a storage account. For using all this, you must create a storage account. A storage account is basically the container or a house where all storage services and data live. Without it, you cannot directly upload or save files data in the Azure Storage. For all these type of data, it is required a storage account. But in some cases, Azure has other services that data internally without you managing a storage account directly. For example, Azure SQL database. For the Azure SQL database and all, it's a store structured data in a managed database. So no storage account needed from your side. That Azure manages that. The next one is Azure Cosmos DB. You do not require a storage account. Then the virtual machine. Obviously, when you create a virtual machine and the disk is attached to that, you can store the data in that disk. For that, you do not require a storage account. So basically, when you require a storage account, when you are managing some unstructured data, queues, tables, data lake, and these kind of data, when you manage it, yes, a storage account is required. But when it comes to a structured data like SQL database, Cosmos DB, then the third one is virtual machine with a disk. In that, you do not require a storage account. Hold on. Before moving to anything else, if you have not subscribed my channel, I request you to please do subscribe and support me. If you like the video, please click on the like button. And if you have any questions or any improvement is required in my channel, please write it in my comment section. You are well aware how the YouTube algorithm works. It works on engagement. So if you like to support me, please do like, subscribe, and comment on my channel. Let's get into the Azure portal and create a storage account. Let's put some data on it. Let's access it from outside. Let's see all that right now. I'm in the Azure portal right now. In the Azure service itself, I can see storage account, or in the favorites, you may find storage account. If you cannot find that, go to the search bar and type for storage account. You could see that. Let me click on the storage account. There are a lot of things to understand about storage in Azure Storage. In this video, we will more focus on blobs, and the coming videos we will discuss the other type of storage that Azure provides. All right, now let's create a storage account. I am going to create a storage account here. All right, let me select my resource group. I select email RG. Instead of that, let me create a separate resource group, because this is for storage account, so I do not want to mix up with the other resource group. So let me create a new resource group for the storage, Azure Storage. I name it as, let me click on OK, and I name it storage account like test storage. No, lab, will write it like lab storage. Okay, you cannot have uppercase letters in the storage account name. Lab storage. The name must be unique across all existing storage account names in Azure. That means you should give a unique name for the storage account. It should not be there. It should not exist in Azure. Not only in our tenant, in all tenants, in the entire Azure. So you have to give some unique name here. So I type it like 2025. Let me see. Is there any storage account in the name of Lab Storage 2025? I think it is taken. Yeah, it is taken. Prefer storage type. Azure files. You have Azure files, tables and queues, and Azure Blob storage, or Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 1. I required Azure Blob storage now. I select that. So this storage account mainly for the Azure Blob storage. Now you have performance. So if you go for a premium, you get low latency. That means within seconds it will be accessible. It will be faster access to the data. As it is a lab environment, we do not require any faster access. So let's go with standard. Redundancy, again, you require geo redundancy, local redundancy, zone redundancy, and geo zone redundancy. You know the difference between all these. Local redundancy means you will have only basic protection against the server rack, driver failures. It's only recommended for the non-critical scenarios. Geo redundant means intermediate option failover capability in secondary region. You will have in the other region data center also. In the other region data center also, you will have a copy of that. Zone redundant, again, you will have intermediate option with protection against data center level failures. GeoZone will have include offering of both GRS and ZRS recommended for critical data scenarios. So when you go up tiers, you will get more redundancy and more security for your data. It's a lab environment. We will go with local redundant. And again, when you select the higher redundant options, the cost also will vary accordingly. When you go for geo redundant control, cost will be very high. Local redundant will have very low cost. Let's go with that. Let me click on next. access tier for the blob storage. How you want the access tier? Optimize for frequently accessed data and everyday usage scenarios. Then you have to select hot. You have 3 access tier for the blob storage. One is hot, cool, and cold. Hot means hot is suitable when you deal with everyday usage data. You want to access data frequently on daily basis. In such scenario, hot will be the best option. A cost also will be high for hot. When we move to cool, it's infrequently accessed data and backup scenarios. Once in a month you are accessing the data. Once in 2 months you are accessing your data. Then you can keep the access tier as cool. Then the third one, cold. This is like when you rarely access data. For we have a backup data of year 2020. So once in a while you may require that data. It's not always you require that data. Then you can keep it in cold storage. Alright, so that is the difference between hot, cool, and cold. Let me click on next. Public network access, I enable that right now. But as it is a lab environment, I give it a public network access. Let it be there. This is all related to data protection and recovery. Enable soft delete for blobs. These are by default. These are ticked, which means enable soft delete for containers. Days certain deletes container will be 7 days. It is recoverable. Here days retain deleted blobs will be 7 days. These are by default. It is there. If you do not require, you can remove the ticks. Alright, I go with the default options. This is all related to the encryption method you required. By default, it is Microsoft managed keys, key. You have customer managed keys, CSK option also is there. Alright, let me move on next and review and create a storage account. Let me click on create now. Alright, so our storage account has been created. Let me go to resources now. Now I could see the storage account right now here. Alright, we have successfully created a storage account and we are in the overview of that storage account, which is Lab Storage 2025. We are in this particular resource group, location, subscription ID, disk state, and all the basic details about the storage account is there in the overview. If you come down about the data storage, you can store containers, file share data, queues, tables. All these 4 data can be stored in this particular storage account. In this video, let's discuss only about this containers, which is blob storage, as some kind of unstructured data, like how we store some of our photos, videos, backup files. Those comes under those. You can put it in the container. So by default, there is a container which is automatically created when we create the storage account. Now what we will do, we will create another add container. The other 3 like file share, queues, and table we will discuss in the coming video. This video we will focus on container. Let me click on add container and create a new container right now. I name it as, so you cannot put a capital letter, uppercase letter, should be lowercase. Alright, let me create a container now. I name it as photos. Let me click on create. Fine. Now I have created a container in the name of photos. Okay, let me click on the container. Here you can add directories or upload directly into the container. Let's create a directory here. Directory, I name it as 2025 photos. Okay, let me click on that. Now we have an option again for the upload the some pictures into it. Let me click on upload. Let me go to the browser. I do have few pictures here. Let me click on this and click on open. Azure blobs support 3 blobs type: block blobs, page blobs, and append blobs. Once blob has been created, its type cannot be changed. So what is the difference between block blob, page blob, and append blob? Let's see that. What is the difference between this? I am taking you to the Microsoft landing page where they are explaining about the block blobs, append blobs, and page blobs. it is detailedly given here. If you go through with that, it is not easy to understand. So what I can do, I have put it in a Word file which is easy for us to understand. So basically, blob storage has three types. First one, blobs, best for storing files like videos, documents, backup, etc. So let us select. In that purpose, you can select for blobs. When you best for virtual machine disk, random read write access, you can select page blobs. And the third one, append blobs, for best for logs, where you always add data at the end. Blobs ball, this is the most common type of blobs. Purpose is storing large files. You can upload 50,000 blocks. Big advantage is you can upload blocks in parallel, retry failed blocks, and then finalize them. Page blob, it is used for Azure virtual machine disk, made for pages. You can read write specific page directly, good for random access. Maximum size is 8 TB, where in the blob you can have a total size of up to 190 TB. And the last one, append blobs, storing logs or streaming data, where works like a notebook. You can see append blob works like a notebook. You can only add or append to the end, not modify, delete old data. Each block can be up to 4 MB. Maximum size is 195 GB only. So this information is given in this Microsoft Learning page. We have to select blob because we are just uploading a picture. Access tier, yes, you have all these options like hot, cool, cold, archive. Hot, if you are using frequently access data, you can select hot. Cool means less frequent data. Cold means rare data. Archive, you are archiving the data, rarest of rarest. In that way, that the access tier get changed. Let me select hot info. All right, let's go with that and upload it. It has uploaded to the container. This is the URL for this particular container. From the container, if you want to share these photos with somebody else, you have two options. One option is that changing the access level. It is private, no anonymous access by default. You can give anonymous read access for the container and blob. This is not at all recommended in the production environment, but when you are dealing with your lab environment and for that the personal purpose and all, if you use this, you can select this blob anonymous read access for blob only. You can select this first. When you select this, you get an message here. First you will have to enable this in the storage account level. So what you have to do, you have to go back to the overview. First of all, this is not the recommended method. We will see the second method first, because that has higher priority, because that to be, you have to know that first, because anonymous method is not at all recommendable. For that, you have here you have generate SaaS, which is shared access signature. Through some token, you will be you can create some URL, and through token only you will be able to view these photos, and the URL you can share with the end user and he'll be able to view that. And here you have so many options here, like what permission to be given, like you give write permission to the container or delete permission to the container, read permission only to the container, so that you can decide when the start and expiry date, you can mention it here. Or if you want to specify to some particular IP address, you can do that here. So in that way you can share this. And the second option is nothing but anonymous, which we discussed. Change the access level from private to anonymous, which is not at all recommended. When you cannot do it in the container level first, you will have to do that in the storage account level first. Here blob anonymous access, it is disabled by default. If it is your personal account or your lab environment, yes, you can enable this. Allow blob anonymous access, you can enable it and you can share it. So whoever is getting that URL, they can put it in the browser and access the data. Alright, in last video we have discussed about Azure Storage account and different type of data storage. About the Blob storage we have discussed about the container, how to upload the files to the container and how you can share that with the other user. All that we have seen in our previous video. This video is mainly focusing on Azure file share. Alright, in the Azure Storage account, we had created Azure Storage account in the last video. We have named it as Lab Storage 2025. When we click on that, under data storage, we could see container and about the container and how to create a container and how to create directories and how to upload the file into that. All that we have already discussed. Now let us come to the second point, which is file share. I have already created a file share here. We will create one more file share and we will attach that to one particular VM and we'll see all that. Before doing that practically, we should first understand what is file share in Azure. On behalf of this video, at the end of this video, I shall add certain questions related to file share that is part of AZ-104 exam. So you can answer those questions at the end of this video. Anyway, first of all, let us understand what is file share. I have already created a PowerPoint here, but let us try to understand file share with the help of this PowerPoint. Azure file share or Azure Files offers fully managed file shares in the cloud that are accessible via industry standard protocol like SMB protocol and some other protocol. Azure File Sync is a service that allows you to catch several Azure file shares on an on-premise Windows server or cloud virtual machine. We are well familiar with the file server in on-premise. We create a file server and all the files will be stored in that file server and we give permission to certain folders to some particular team. Whoever is having permission will be able to access that particular folder. So this is the on-premise practice about the file server, about the files, about the folder access, folder sharing. But when it comes to Azure, Azure offers an Azure file share. So here in Azure file share, the data will be there in the cloud. Data is in the cloud. But in the case of file server, data is in on-premise. Here it is fully accessible. It is in the cloud. And through some protocol, we can map that to a virtual machine, even to a standalone server or any platform. It can be done in Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever platform. You can map that Azure file share to that particular VM, that particular machine. This is my server, Windows Server 2022. So in this Windows Server, I have attached the file share for us, the Azure file share. I have mapped to this particular server and I have created a folder here in the name of home. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one more folder here and I name it as like Office, the folder name called Office, that which we created from the server. Here it is available here in the portal, like in the name of Office. Hope you got a basic idea about Azure file share. Now let us see why Azure Files is useful. First benefit is that it replaces or supplement on-premise file server. It replaces or supplement on-premise file server. That is the first benefit of using Azure Files. Then the other one is something like consider global access. When we consider some kind global access, then Azure Files come in picture. Directly access file shares by using most operating systems such as Windows, Mac OS and Linux from anywhere in the world. That is advantage of Azure Files. So that is what meant by consider global access. Then comes consider lift and shift support. Lift and shift application to the cloud with Azure Files for the app that expect a file share to store file application or user data. So this is the another benefit of having Azure files. Then the third one, consider using Azure File Sync. Replicate Azure file shares to Windows servers by using Azure File Sync. You can replicate that to the Windows server through some protocols. So that is the other benefit of Azure files. Then consider shared applications. Store shared application settings such as configuration files in Azure files. That is the other benefit of having Azure files. And there comes the last one, consider diagnostic data. Use Azure files to store diagnostic data such as logs, metrics, and crash dumps in the shared locations. For that, you can use Azure files. So this is the this is the benefit of using Azure files. I think now it is clear why Azure files is useful. Before we create Azure files and go to the practical, let us just compare Azure files with Azure Blob storage. Azure files or file shares with Azure Blob storage. Azure files provide SMB and NFS protocols, client libraries, and REST interface that allow access from anywhere to stored files. From anywhere, the stored files you can access through the help of these two protocols. And here Azure Blob storage provides client libraries and REST interface that allow unstructured data to be stored and access massive scale in blobs. Here in the we have discussed blobs or manage unstructured data. Alright, then the other difference is that file shares in Azure file share true directory objects. Here are flat namespace. Data Azure files is accessed through file shares across multiple virtual machines. Here Blob data Azure storage is accessed through a container. Azure file share is ideal for lift and shift application to the cloud that already use native file system APIs. Azure Blob storage is ideal for applications that need to be support streaming and random access scenarios. This is a kind of comparison between Azure file share and Azure Blob storage. Also, alright, now what we can do, we can go to the Azure portal and create an Azure files there, and we can attach that to a virtual machine. We can sync that to a virtual machine and see how it works. Alright, the Azure portal, I have searched for my storage account. My storage account is Lab Storage 2025. Inside Lab Storage 2025, I have under data storage, I have container and file share. Let us click on file share. That will land over here, and you could see a file share which I have already created in the name of file share for test. Now let me create one more file share here. For that, I have to click on this plus symbol for the file share. Let me click on that. We have to name the file share here. I name it as Azure Video for File Share. Here you have to check for the, here now you have to select the access tier, hot, cool, and transaction optimized. What is the difference between all the three? It is clearly mentioned here. Hot means balanced storage and transaction pricing for workload that have good measure of both. Cool means most efficient storage pricing for storage intensive workload. Transaction optimized, lowest transaction cost pricing for transaction heavy workload that do not need low latency offered by premium file share, recommended while migrating data to Azure files. So let us go with transaction optimized. Maximum capacity, it is 100 TB. Let me click on next. Here it has got some default backup policy, and the vault name, it has come default. We haven't created anything over here. You can create a new policy if you require for a backup policy, and backup frequency is daily at 7:30 p.m. UTC. This comes by default. I haven't created anything. If you want to customize that, you can do it over here. Next, review and create it. Let me click on create now. Now the file share has been created. Here you get the overview of that file share. It's in storage RG resource group. This is the location and the subscription ID is here. Share URL, it shows your redundancy is local redundant storage. This actually inherit from the storage account. If the storage account is locally redundant, so even the file share also everything will be locally redundant. Here you have the soft delete for 14 days, and the basic details about the file share is shows you over here. And if you click on the browse, there is no folder or nothing over here. You can create, if you want to create some directories, or you want to directly upload some files, you can do here. You can upload a picture or something even from the cloud. So what I am going to do, I'm going to upload this particular picture, Azure Storage. All right, so the file is getting uploaded. If you want to create another directory, you can add a directory here while clicking over here. Yeah, this file got uploaded now. So if you refresh, you will be able to see that file here. Yeah, storage logo.png. That file is visible here. If you want to create some directory, you name it like picture. Let me click on OK. So a directory, a folder has been created. Inside this directory, if you want to upload something, you can upload it. All right. Now the next, if you want to change the tier here, you can change the tier, access tier. As we have seen, transaction optimized, hot, cool. So from the transaction optimized, you want to change to hot or cool, you can do it over here. And if you can set the quota here. Present quota, it is 1,02,400 GB. This is almost near to 100 TB, I believe. So that much quota it is available here. If you want to change that, you can. If you want to limit the quota, you can do that. Great. Now what we have to do, we want to connect this Azure file share with one virtual machine. Let us try to do that. So let me click on connect. Whatever drive letter you want, you can select it here. This time I select the drive letter W. Through some storage, you can do it through authentication method, Active Directory or Microsoft Entra, or storage account key. Let us go with the storage account key. It will give you a script. We will have to run this script in the virtual machine, in the PowerShell of that particular virtual machine. So let me copy this NDS script, Control C. Let me go back here, and let me come to the C drive. So let me open a notepad and copy that particular script that we got from the portal. Notepad in the name of new file share.ps1. Let me save that. All right, so if I go back to the tools folder right now, we go to this PC, C drive, tools folder. You could see a new file share file in PS1 format, in the PowerShell format, as a PowerShell script. So let me go to the Windows PowerShell, right click and run as administrator, click on yes, and here let me go to that particular location which is in C drive tools. So cd and cd tools. So I'm in the tools folder right now, and we have the file called new file share PowerScript. Let me run that now. All right, it is. So it has successfully added the file share. We connected the file share with the server. Running the script, the Azure video for file share, it is available here. It got whatever we have created, whatever directory we have created in the cloud, that is start appearing here, and even the photo that we uploaded, the picture which we uploaded from the cloud, that start appearing here. If you open that, you could see that particular picture. Now let us create a folder here from the on-premise, from the VM. I'm going to name it like video and keep it as it is. Let me, inside the video, I'm going to add a text file. Let that be there. Now let us go back to the portal and see whether these folder are appearing there in the cloud. Now, so let me go back, let me close this and refresh the page. Yeah, it starts showing the new directory in the name of video. If you click on that, you could see the text file which we created from the on-premise. So this is an overall about Azure file share. Then if you want to create an SMB file share, then you have to open the port 445. SMB communicate over TCP port 445. Make sure your port 445 is open. Also make sure your firewall is not blocking TCP port 445 from the client machine. What I suggest, you create the Azure, you create a storage account, create the file share, connect that to your VM, and try explore all the options that Microsoft offers related to file share. At the end of this video, I'm adding certain questions that may appear for the AZ-104 exam. You can give the answer as a comment in this video. That's it. Bye. We'll meet in the other video. Till then, goodbye.